What if I were to suggest that you play a key role in the awakening world? And that you are watching this because you have heard the call. We can start right now by opening our hearts and minds. Welcome to the awakening world.
Hey, greetings, everybody. Happy Saturday night to all of you. It is the Saturday night edition of The Awakening World. I'm your host, Love Coach Scott Thomas. And it's beautiful to see so many people that I know and that I love that are in our Zoom room already. Welcome, dear friends. And let us know, this is really important, if you've already seen last week's show. Last Sunday, we kind of started this conversation, this very dynamic conversation that we're having with Hereditary Chief Phil Lane Jr. and his brother in arms, or formerly in arms, Andrew Marr. Let us know if you've already seen that show. That would be helpful to know, so we know how much catch-up we need to do. Now, I want to welcome everybody who's watching on Facebook. We've got John and Summer Raymer with us. You know, I thank them every show. This time I get to actually show them as I thank them. We go out to as many as 100 Facebook groups and pages because of this wonderful couple who put us out through the Sign Network. And so thank you, John and Summer, so much for helping us to reach so many people. And I'm really looking forward to all that you have to share on tonight's really important topic. Great to have you with us. So if you are watching on one of the Sign Network groups, Facebook groups or pages, or perhaps you're watching on the Conscious Awakening Network, or perhaps you're even watching on one of the YouTube channels. That's great. But you know what? Come on into our Zoom room. I'm inviting you to join the Global Peace Tribe. And it's really easy to do that. Just go to globalpeacetribe.com, globalpeacetribe.com, and you'll see where it says register for the new season. Well, this is it. We're in the new season. You click that. And we do 3 or 4 shows every weekend. Actually, I should say every week now, because we have a midweek show, or a Wednesday night show, with amazing hosts, amazing guests. So, for example, a few nights ago, we did a show all about the power of mediation. Now, this is the poster for tonight's show, all about unifying our human family, ending war, and beginning peace on earth by 2030. That's tonight's show. And then tomorrow, it's all about ascension. Deborah Giusti, my co-host on 90 episodes of Saturday Night Live, is coming back. And she and her partner, Meg, have literally written a book on ascension tips. And tomorrow, they're going to go through those ascension tips with our audience. And that's tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock Pacific time. So join us. It's easy. You'll get the links to all of our shows for the next 3 months. So it's a good time to join. We have a lot of amazing shows. Every show have great co-hosts, great guests. And every show always has music, such as the music tonight with our beloved brother, Omar Shar. Omar Shar is always with us. He is really my co-pilot on the awakening world. And speaking of co-hosts, tonight, beautiful, beloved brother Phil is with us. Camera's on you, Phil, just so you know. And he's really who has put this beautiful show together. And Phil, I'd love for you to briefly introduce your brother, Andrew Marr, and to tell us a little bit about the vision for tonight.
Yes, and if I may, we can begin with a prayer. Sister Mona is here, and Sister Mona is one of the 13 grandmothers. She's been a dear, dear sister of mine for at least 40 years, and she travels the world. She is our ambassador everywhere in the world for one of our primary, I'm not the only, but one of the primary ambassadors of the Eagle everywhere in the world. She ends up in Africa. She goes over here and there about water and about life. And so, sister, as you know, we came together with our beloved relatives, beloved veterans, Special Forces veterans. You were there. You led ceremonies there. You were the one that took care of the sacred pipe. And so we want to celebrate that time and bring this message to humanity. So would sure be appreciated, my beloved sister, if you could give us an opening prayer.
First of all, I'd just like to greet each and every one of you and let you know that I am grateful for this time, this moment to join you all and all of the work that is being done and the coming together of good relatives who have a intention, a very, very important intention of creating an opportunity for us to acknowledge and come to this understanding of the importance of being in good relation, to come together in peace and in the way of my father's people, the Hopi Tewa people. What we do is we offer our hand in this way. And so I offer my hand in this way to each and every one of you, everyone who is joining us. I offer my hand in peace from my heart, from my mind, my very presence before you. I come that way, and my hope is that a day and time to come, we will all be able to offer our hands throughout the world, among all of humanity, in this gesture of I come in peace. And so I'm grateful, Brother Phil. Thank you for inviting me to join you this evening time. So let me go ahead and say a word of prayer here to bring us all together in a good way. Oh, Muslim call upon you again, giving thanks to you here for this time, this moment, giving thanks to you again for all your divine creations, the water, the air, the fire, the earth, all these things that give us our life. Grateful to you again, too, that we could have a way to communicate with you in this way at this time. Sending my voice to you, and I ask you for forgiveness that I might be worthy of these things that I pray to you about here. I'm grateful to you that you gave us this beautiful day that is just coming to a close as we enter into this grandmother time, this night time that's coming upon us. And as we join together at this time throughout the world, the relatives that are joining us today, and the plans, the efforts, the programming that's going to take place here, the messages that are going to be delivered here through our words, through our songs, through our thoughts and our feelings, our hopes, our dreams, our wishes that we have, so that we could be able to recognize and acknowledge and be able to see the coming of the prayers that are being made at this time for peace on earth and goodwill towards all of life that you've given here on this Mother Earth. not only as human beings, but also all of the animal life, the plant life, the four-legged, the winged, the water life, all of these other kinds of living beings that share this world with us. They too must live in peace. They too have a purpose, just as you've given us a divine purpose in this world, that we have a good understanding about our relationship with one another, about the way that you put us on this earth so that we might be able to grow and develop and be strong and healthy and happy with the places that you put us, so that we might be able to strive and thrive throughout our life here. The kind of teachings you gave to us on how to have a good relationship with you, the medicines, the plant life that you've given to us as earth-based medicines, our grandmas and our grandpas, stone people, all of these good creations of yours that we use in order to communicate with you. All of our sacred waters, our sacred mountains, our sacred places that you put here for us to use in a good way. You could look down upon it and bless it. Each one of our relatives that have a hand in creating this time, this moment for us to join together our hearts and our minds in a good way here and this at this time, Creator. Likewise, too, you could bless each and every one of all of our elders, those that are sick in the hospital, those that are in the nursing home. You could look down upon them. Anyone here at this time that might be struggling in their health. All of our relatives that might be in mourning at this time, our relatives that are the veterans, the military veterans, each and every one of them, the men and the women that are now serving wherever they're at on the land, in the air, on the water. You could look down upon them and bless them. And all of our loved ones, wherever they are, whatever they're doing at this time, make a way for them to have a good evening and a good night and a good morning coming that you're blessing us with here in our everyday life. If there's anything I left out, I ask that you could take care of it for me, just like you always do. These things I say to you for all my relations. Escoli, 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 escoli.
Aho, aho, aho. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you so much, my very beloved sister. Thank you so much, so much.
in the gallery view for a moment, and let's just all give some appreciation to Omashar, to grandmother, to Chief Phil for this beautiful start to a very important show. Thank you so much, Omashar, for just the incredible quality of care and connection you bring to every episode of The Awakening World. I'm so grateful for you. Thank you.
Yeah, that was a precious time I had in down in Peru. There was Mayan Indians. We did a ceremony with a couple of hundred people, and the Mayans came along in full native dress and danced for us. It was phenomenal. And so that was happening in the background behind when I was playing then.
Wow, wow. It was beautiful how you put that together. Thank you very, very much. I'm going to go to Chief Phil.
Yes.
And if you could go ahead and let's bring Andrew on for a moment and tell us a little bit about your relationship together and what this is all about tonight.
Well, I'm so thankful to have met my beloved Toshka, my beloved nephew, Andrew, and all the work he's done. And of course, those who have got a chance to be with us on Sunday in the beautiful, beautiful Sacred Sunday program, Andrew shared with us a very, very heart-moving and in-depth journey he had since growing up, and his service as a Green Beret, and the tremendous trauma and explosions that he experienced, and the damage to his brain that happened from that, and then from there returning home and descending into the depths of the pain and hurt and all that comes with having given your life as best you could to serve your country as you understood it, to serve freedom as you understood it, and then sharing with us his journey back home, his journey of healing, his journey of completely being able to step away from all the Western medicines. I think it was up to about 20 he was taking at a time, and the difficulty was to even think about living any further. I mean, the place of contemplation of suicide, and what his beloved family and the impact that had on them. And then shared how we had come together last March for the 4x48 sacred run and staking ceremony. And it was really quite an experience, where you run 4 miles every 4 hours, a total of 48 miles and 48 minutes. And it was there that we were spiritually called after a long journey for myself that began back in 1970, when I went to Bolivia for the first time in March of 1970. A long journey towards fulfilling the sacred prophecies, in which we'd been counseled early in this journey by my grandfather, Vine Deloria Sr. Said, you must make allies. You need to make allies. And as well, and I'll just share this last part, then Andrew can share his part. For me, was this whole act of forgiveness, truly, first of all, forgiving our own selves for all of the mistakes we make, but reaching out and for forgiveness and understanding and love and compassion for the U.S. military and the incredible battles we had shared on the battlefield together, at so many places, which I studied and read about ever since a little boy. We didn't have television, so I immersed myself in reading, and I think I knew every battle that took place, everything that took place. But it was just such a tremendous inspiration and vision that this was the time, at this time of where all these special forces representing veterans groups across the United States were coming together. This was the time. And Sister Mona, of course, has been a key to this, and Brother Austin Nunez and others. So we came, as best we could, and brought with us one of Tashuka Wiko's pipes, Crazy Horse's pipes, who had never been defeated. He of course, led the battle at the Little Bighorn, which is the greatest defeat the U.S. military ever had. And of course, we see that war only begets more war and killing, because it was just not that much longer, just 14 years later, that the U.S. 7th Cavalry reformed, massacred all our relatives at Wounded Knee. So we saw it was time to really make peace. So I'll pass it there to you now, Toshka. Whatever you'd like to comment and add to, we can kind of bring people up to date of what happened. And we have a video we want to share here.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you, Uncle. So much love. Great to see you, Grandma. I think it's been almost a year. And so it's so warming for me to hear you and to see your voice. And when Grandma Mona was here on our ranch at this sacred event that took place last year, and that opening ceremony, Grandma prayed. She prayed for the ceremony. She prayed for the participants. She prayed for a long time, and it was profound. And at that moment, I realized that whatever I had understood about going into this event, it was completely wiped clean. And I understood at that point it was something very profound taking place. And my hope and vision and intent for the night is to be able to communicate to the group here what Chief Phil had been putting together for 40 years, and what took place last year very specifically, and how that has continued into our vision of the future, and what we're doing, how we're taking action to the best of our abilities to create the experience that we hope to see in ourselves and therefore in the world. And so I know there's a format to how all this will go, and we can have a time to go into very specifics. And I'm so honored to be here to speak to all of you, to tell you about the specifics of this event, and why Chief and I think it is significant, and we need to share it. And so we gave a lot of context to that led up to that event on the last show. And I hope, like I said, for this show, we can talk about the specifics of the event and kind of our visions for what that looks like moving forward. So with that, I'll push it back to you, Scott.
Thank you. It's an honor to have all three of you with us. And I would like to ask each of you a question. You're all coming to this from your own extraordinarily unique life experience. Most of the people watching this show, we all believe that this is an incredible time of transformation for humanity. Obviously, we're on the precipice of great change. And there are those that can, perceive that this is it. Apocalyptic times are here. There are others who believe that humanity is going to make it, and that we are going to awaken into a higher consciousness. So I'm going to bring on our other two guests, John and Summer Raymer, for our other two guests for tonight. And I really want to ask each of you to share your vision for humanity and why you've come to that. And by the way, I've not prepped anybody with this question, so I don't know what your responses will be. But I'd love to hear what you believe is going to be happening in this very chapter that's already begun of great change, and what in your life has led you to believe that. And maybe I'll start with you, Andrew, and then go to Phil and Mona, and then John and Summer.
What a loaded question, Scott.
Yeah, I mean, I got to get us off to a good start here, Andrew, right?
yeah, that's awesome. My vision and hope for the future. Oh man, that humanity would reawaken to who we really are. And in that reawakening and remembering of who we are, we would remember and understand that we have a purpose, a divine purpose, and that life is connected and it's interconnected, all of it in this grand purpose, and that through that, our self-sovereignty would reign again. And with that, we would live in peace and harmony with each other once again, truly. And so I think if I had to sum it up in a minute, that would be what I would have to say.
Beautifully done. May it be so. Phil, what's your response?
Well, first of all, I want to put an exclamation point mark after everything that Andrew said, and again say, that we are one human family. We are each and every one of us, indigenous peoples to our beloved Mother Earth. We are intimately related to all life, and that the hurt of one is the hurt of all. And the honor and healing and upliftment of one is the honor and healing and upliftment of all. And that we are all in a great umbilical cord, connected to the spiritual worlds beyond the world of time and space. And we also in a birth canal, so to speak, being birthed from our adolescence into our spiritual beginning adulthood. And while we have some tremendous contractions before us, we individually and collectively have the capacity, have the covenant with our Creator, so that we can emerge during this time of incredible crisis, when we're on the verge of nuclear war, literally. I mean, so close from so many angles, to step forward through all this. What's going to take to do this wake-up call? No, but I do know without question in every part of my being that we are on the process of, while we can hear the death cries of the old but dying away, we can also hear the birth pangs of the new, birthing a new global civilization founded in justice for every human being, justice where the extremes of wealth and poverty are balanced, where truly people awaken to the spiritual reality of the eagle of humanity has two wings, one is woman, one is man, where every human being has clean water to drink and food to eat, where every human being has educational opportunities that fit their cultural understanding, where all the spiritual face of humanity realize they all come from the same source and respect one another, and are not a source of conflict, but a source of unity. And where we truly are able to understand that we can unite our human family in war and begin peace by 2030, if not before. So that's my prayer. That's my vision. That's my hope.
Thank you, Phil. Thank you very much. Grandmother Mona, it's an honor to meet you. And thank you so much for being with us tonight. It'd be good to hear what your thoughts are. Oh, you're still muted. We need you to unmute.
Okay. The work of the International Council of 13 Indigenous Grandmothers has been to, our mission has been to carry the message of being in good relationship, to be in a good relationship with all of life on the earth. And that that on this mission of peace, that wherever we go, we come with that message of being in good relationship, being in peace with one another. And in our way of doing that work, we have put prayer in front our prayer for peace is in front and we walk behind it. We arrive at any special place we're invited to, and we go ahead and we light our sacred fire. We have our sacred water. We have perhaps our herbs, our earth-based medicine, sage, cedar, tobacco, medicine. We have there our instruments that we use, like the feather, the fan that I was holding when I prayed. We put that all together in front of us and we go ahead and pray, because we understand that what our work is upholding what we might refer to as natural law. That we must come back to that place of recognizing that our conduct and how we walk our road of life it's dependent on the laws of nature, natural law. We do not have any control over these things that are of nature. We must let that be our foundation. And if we recognize those things as being our foundation of life, then we will then recognize that we all have this common foundation of life, and that we embrace that, not only for us today, but our children, our grandchildren, our great-grandchildren, and the future generations that are yet to come that we will not see. We have ancestors that were here before us. They made, we say, they made a way for us to be here. And in making that way, they honored all of these things that give us life. They had to, in order to survive. And so now it's incumbent on us to honor those things that give us life. And if we can focus on that, this commonality of life that we all have, not only humankind, but all of life beings here on the earth. If we honor that, if we acknowledge it, then we can find this balance of what we're talking about, of having peace. That's the way that the grandmothers talked about it. That's how we carry this prayer for peace on earth. And I just wanted, I thought about this, when we're first starting, I thought about something that someone said to me. And it's that I was told, you're doing some good work. You go out there and, you do your prayer, you do this work, you travel, talk to people. And you know what, Mona? What I see is a road. And on that road is a little tiny bump. And the road goes on. And he said to me, Mona, you're that little tiny bump. In other words, kind of saying, what I'm doing doesn't make a difference. I looked at him and I laughed and I said, okay, but I want to tell you something. You know what? There are many tiny bumps in that road. I'm not the only one on that road who are seeking this good path of life. And so I look at all of you that have joined us tonight on this program here, and I love it. We are all those bumps in the road that are striving to create this opportunity for peace on earth. So I say, Escali, thank you. Thank you all. Thank you for asking me that question.
Thank you so much for reminding us of our relationship to the earth and the humility. I feel a reminder of humility as you speak, grandmother. And thank you and all of the 13 grandmothers for the work that you've been doing of helping us to remember the wisdom that we so deeply need to remember and live in our lives. So thank you. Well, we've heard from 3 extraordinary people. It's a hard act to follow, and I think only John and Summer could successfully respond. John and Summer, I love you both so much, and I so honor the work you're doing in the world, and I am curious what you have to say.
Well, the first thing I want to say is thank you to Mona for her wise teaching and our beautiful prayer. And thank you to you, Scott, for bringing us all together. To Omashar for his beautiful music.
Yes, that was my favorite so far that I've ever heard.
Yeah.
Omashar.
And you, Phil, for your leadership at this time. Andrew, for your service.
Wow.
You know, Dr. King says that human salvation lies in the hands of the creatively maladjusted. That's us. That's the bumps in the road, Mona. He says we're either going to learn to live together or perish together as fools. These are the words of Dr. King. And Andrew, you may not know this, but you and I have something important in common. When I met Phil in 2008 and heard the 16 guiding principles, I was stunned. I said, there is timeless wisdom that I need to know. If we're going to learn to live together, the idea of guiding principles that could govern our behavior in pursuit of our purpose. This was amazing, starting from within, working in a circle, in a sacred manner. We heal and develop ourselves, our relationships in the world. I said, oh my God. And since 2008, that's been at the heart of all of our work. With Compassion Games, with the Sign Alliance, Phil is chairman. So I resonate with you and what must have happened there when you too. And for our people now to realize the indigenous wisdom is so essential to how we're going to sort this out. Thank God for you, Mona. Thank God for you, Phil. Thank God for your patience and tolerance and presence. This is what I prayed for. Yeah. This is the conversation we need to be having.
And I would just say, in light of the question that Scott has for all of us, and in a lot of ways, it's a revealing right here in this room, you know, of the sense of peace on earth by 2030. How is that here right now is what I often find my soul asking me. And this space that not only do we awaken, but that we realize we are family, that all of us are family. And I dedicate whatever I say, and may it bless the overall intention of this space, as tomorrow is the year anniversary of my father's passing. He passed February 5th last year. And speaking of family, Hereditary Chief Phil was very present in prayer and in the transition and journey that my father went through. Just a week ago, I watched Andrew's film. Any of you have not watched that film about the healing of brain trauma, I was incredibly moved and touched as I witnessed, and my husband and I both really cared for my father as he was realizing his brain had, tumors that took over, and we didn't have the chance to do as much of a healing opportunity, but we were with him. And an incredible passage that I find is the grief and the call that Hereditary Chief Phil speaks of, that I'm so in relationship with here in this space, as we are family. The hurt of one is the hurt of all. And I found, as I was in that space with my father, the significance that we are here. We are here to take care of each other. Even when it may feel like there's nothing that one can do, or we're so overwhelmed with pain, that at that moment, what can we do? What can I do to be caring and in that space of love more in this moment? I was gifted, as we're on our way here to Montana, this hummingbird necklace from a dear sister, Pookie. Her music is a part of the music of the Global Peace Tribe. Sent me this necklace that means the world to me, as the origins of my soul come from the Garden of Joy, in collaboration with the prophecy of the condor, eagle, quetzal, and hummingbird. So all of this is, to me, part of my vision and dream, is right here in this moment, breathing in peace on earth by 2030. So thank you for being my dream right here.
Beautiful. I want to hear from some of the wonderful people in our audience. There's so many beautiful souls that are creating peace in the world that are in our audience tonight. So I'm going to read from them, and then we'll hear some more from our guests. But I'm going to read a few things. Doug May wrote, yes, the global transformation is already underway. Small, perhaps, but unstoppable if we cooperate. Ayada writes, perhaps the challenge before us is to leave battling of any kind behind and instead learn to become peacemakers. Reverend Jeffrey writes, the important thing is not to stop questioning. Curiosity has its own reason for existence. One cannot help but be in awe when we contemplate the mysteries of eternity, of life, or the marvelous structure of reality. And that's a quote from Albert Einstein, shared by Reverend Jeffrey. Susan Blomquist sent me a text message, Bill. I mentioned this to you earlier today. She sent me a text a couple of days ago. She read your entire document, and I'm going to put the document into the chat box. It's an incredible document. And she said, oh my God, this document is the most important document since the Magna Carta. So you're in good company. And Susan continues on in the chat box now by saying, you've given us a document which allows all people access to moral authority to transform our systems using the human family. This document is the key to the transformation. It is my greatest honor to be part of the birthing of this gift to humanity. George Noble writes, it's an inside job, as has been said so many times, as we must look at ourselves. Laura Chamberlain writes, I'm going to stick to a very simple vision, that all humanity has a personal experience of the truth of the existence and the love of the divine. I believe from this experience that all will come to the unity of all life. Ayada writes, Brother Phil, I so resonate with your vision. I'm holding it in my heart. Just a couple more comments. Andrew and Connie, and I'm going to put Andrew and Connie on for a moment. As I was driving down, I'm going to read what they said, but there's Connie. As I was driving down to San Diego a couple of days ago, I was listening to the World Unity Week, and for the first time, I heard Connie and Andrew's brilliant 10 assumptions. And they're so brilliant that next weekend, Connie's going to be on the show because I want her to share them with everybody. But I just really want to acknowledge you, Connie. I was so inspired listening to that and listening to the presentation you did on Wednesday. So since you're right here, do you want to speak instead of me reading what you wrote? Do you want to share it directly? You just need to unmute.
Sure. Yeah, Andrew's here as well. It's wonderful to be here with our family, with Phil and Mona and John and Summer and the Peace Tribe family. This whole Zoom thing is so amazing. It's just boggling, bringing the heart of humanity together. And so, yeah, what I put in the chat is something I wrote in 1995 when I had the vision of what the indigenous peoples are carrying for humanity for this time and for all time, to open our hearts and connect us to the oneness and sacredness of all life. And so here it is. This is a part of it. The coming together of the ancient understanding of the natural laws of the universe and the secrets of the earth, which have been held by the indigenous peoples, with what the modern cultures have learned through exploring the scientific paradigm, will create a synthesis from which will emerge a balanced way of walking on earth by all people that has never been experienced before. So that's been my knowing that I've been carrying for 30 years. And it's just so wonderful to be a part of that unfolding. Isn't it great, everybody?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
What a blessing. The whole divine orchestration of it all is just a boggle to me and keeps me going all this time. So
thank you, Connie and Andrew, for the beautiful work you're doing.
thank you.
Two more comments, and then I want to get back to our presenters. From Janice Hall, who was one of Connie and Andrew's collaborators on Wednesday. She writes, my father died of a brain tumor. He was a Navy radio man in World War II. He was on Omaha Beach. Many Navy men died of brain tumors because of how the radio frequencies cooked their brains. That is a sad truth, and I'm sure Andrew can relate to that. And earlier we heard about Andrew's movie. If you go to warriorangelsfoundation.org, there it is. There's Andrew. That's where you'll be able to watch the film. It's the award-winning film, Quiet Explosions, Healing the Brain. If you missed last Sunday's show, please go back and watch it. I'll put the link into the chat box. But this is where you can go to his foundation, learn about the great work that Andrew's doing, and watch that film, which is very, very, very powerful. The last comment that I'm going to read is from Nitya and Sylvia. And I think it's a nice way to sum it up. I honor the peacemaker in each of us with special thanks to Grandmother Mona, Brother Andrew, Chief Phil, Summer, John, and Scott. And I'll continue to read comments from the audience.
The word was
unmute Nitya.
I tried there. Okay. Peacier. The word is peacier, Peacier, like warrior, active for peace.
Thank you. Thank you for that clarification. Thank you very much. And thank you for all that you bring. All right. I'm going to go back to you, Brother Phil, to maybe share a little bit more. And then we're going to take a brief break. But could you please share with us a little bit more about the covenant that we're going to be learning your 16 principles I know you had a video. I don't know if this is a good time to show that, but if so, let me know.
Yes. There's so many things that happened in this gathering. It was just really one of those things that transcends the world of names and the murmur of syllables and sounds. That's all I can say. It was there was a spirit and a power there that as we came together in this spirit of forgiveness and it was quite amazing. There was a beautiful short video that Brother Toshka Andrew and the Circle made and said to me, a little bit of me speaking, but it kind of gives you some highlights, some feeling of what was happening during these 2 days. And maybe that'd be a good time to play that now. And then after that, have some music. And then when we get to it, we can go into actually get into some of the details of what this is about.
Okay, here's a 5.5-minute video that tells us a little bit more and gives us a taste. You'll see grandmother and Phil speaking, and here we go.
My name is Hereditary Chief Phil Lane Jr., member of the Ahankawa and Chickasaw Nations. It's been very clear that the way forward towards peace and the end of war by 2030 is to come together in unity and forgiveness. And through synergy, through a series of synchronistic events, I was guided to Andrew and to Adam in their vision, which is one with our vision. And that is to come together in unity and harmony, in healing. And so the whole thing of bringing together Tashukuit Ko, the spirit of Crazy Horse through his sacred pipe, with the very military relatives that he fought against. It was never defeated, by the way, and delivered the U.S. government the greatest defeat in military history, their entire history. It was the defeat of George Armstrong Custer. At the same time, it's not about celebrating the war, because following that, in Wounded Knee in 1890, the 7th Cavalry came back and annihilated those over 300 different Lakotas. So it's, war, just killing after killing after killing after killing. So it was clear, you could feel from the spirit and soul of Andrew and Adam that they were about an understanding one human family, about peace and about kindness and compassion, and not getting involved in adversarial partisan politics, which is taking us nowhere at all, but down the hoop, whether it be national, local, regional, or global. These partisan politics are not working. So ours, as I shared before, which we share, is to stand in our spiritual strength, which we agreed to be kind, to be loving, to be compassionate, to be truthful, to be just, and to move towards the positive alternative which to create without giving away our energy fighting the negative. So I'm here because I support this vision. I'm here because it's time we come together in unity and harmony, and also by population, by percentage of population, Indigenous peoples, Native Americans in the United States and in Canada have served more in the military by percentage than any other population in the United States. Any close to it. So in World War I, after just a short time after Wounded Knee Massacre in 1890, the Oceti-Sakowin, the 7 council fires of the Sioux Nation, sent over 5,000 men to World War I. Everybody that could fight went to fight because they honored our treaties. And so I know these men here honor their agreements. That's why they volunteered to serve. And I'm sure they did it for the highest purposes. Absolutely. It certainly is a fulfillment of the prophecies of many, many Indigenous people, and you can find them everywhere. I mean, One of the ones that's so classic to me in the Christian Judaic tradition is the Lord's Prayer. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. So how much clearer can you get? We have a responsibility to manifest this. And I think that one of the wounds that I see that's being healed is a wound between those who said they practiced Christianity, but certainly didn't. So what was done in the name of Jesus and what continues to be done sometimes in the name of Jesus or the name of any sacred teacher is completely against the teachings. And so that's another thing we're really looking at is really to know that the source of all things is one. All things. You go to every grain of the world, you'll never find two pieces of grain the same. The stamp of the oneness of the Creator is on everything. And so here we are, having a choice here to step into oneness, into our reality spiritually, and the prior unity and oneness of the human family in all life. And the hurt of one is the hurt of all. And the restoration, healing of one is the restoration and healing of all.
Thank you, Phil.
I might add that this staking ceremony that was done, and these stakes are black, red, yellow, and white. They represent our human family. But back in 1985, at Alkali Lake, a community in Canada, that was the first community that went from 100%, 100% alcoholism to almost complete sobriety. And so in 1986, Andrew's holding there, in his hand, that sacred stake, through my dear teacher, Lionel Quinoa, comes home swimming, he passed on this ceremony to us. And this ceremony is based on an old ceremony of ours, because really compared to what was happening in other parts of the world, we lived in the high plains in relative peace and harmony. And so when the battle would get so intense and there was really a loss of life going beyond, because our main thing that we used to like to do is come and you'd count coup, count coup and you'd touch your enemy. That was the most highest thing you could do. Of course, even you can see the coup sticks getting longer as we encountered the US military because the bayonets were longer. Anyway, at that time, when that battle was just, going over and needless killing, a warrior, and we also had women, a cow killer who rode into the middle of the battle and saved her brother. So it wasn't just understanding of men, and by the way, it wasn't all about fighting either. It was about serving the people. But you'd take and you'd commit yourself, and you'd ride right in the middle of that battle, right in the middle of the horses you can imagine. It's just big. You'd get off your horse and drive the stake in the ground, as we did. You see him, we drove it in the ground and said, from where I stand, I shall not surrender until this battle is over, or my life is gone. And that commitment that was made there, right next to Sam Houston National Forest on the Freedom Ranch, that was between everybody and their creator. It wasn't between me or them, it was between them and the creator. We had, gone gone over all these principles and found the ones we could agree to and ones we have to discuss yet within our international treaty to protect and restore the sacred, because this is about dialogue, it's about consultation, it's about sharing. It's not about all of a sudden coming. But I can say that when we get a chance to share, the foundation of this agreement, this covenant, it goes back a long, long ways on this Mother Earth. So, I just wanted to share that part in terms of what happened there. And I want to say again, in our tradition, In our tradition, it was the sacred pipe was brought by the White Buffalo Catherine when it came about 950. So having a woman really with that sacred pipe and praying as Mona did, this is the way it was done. Because really, it was a woman who was the life giver. And to having her there and having, Brother Austin and Chief Grimes, all the relatives of the singers that came, the sacred ceremonies we had on the last night where the runners were running all night long, all those things that then brought us to that staking ceremony that you saw, and where people committed themselves to truly working together and with a foundation. And I don't know if they're the Magna Carta, but certainly they are a reflection of many other great principles, but a reflection of a consultation process that began clear back in July, in November, that was March 1970. So let's share that.
Thank you so much, Phil. Thank you. We're going to, let me turn the camera back on. We're going to hear from the Executive Director of the Conscious Life Expo in a moment and talk a little bit about that because it's coming up next weekend. But as you know, we always have lots of musical offerings on our Saturday night shows. And Kristen Hoffman has played on these shows. I've done over 500 shows since the beginning of the pandemic. And Kristen was going to be with us tonight, and something came up. She couldn't join us live. But she's been on the show 17 times. When I went back, she said, "Scott, can you play one of my videos?" I said, "No problem." Well, when I went back and I counted, there was 17 times she's been on the show. So many wonderful moments with her. And so the video that I've chosen to play right now, because we've got Andrew with us and he served in the forces, served our country, doing the best that he could and what he knew. We have done a lot of fundraising over the years. And there was a time that there were terrible fires that swept through the Bay Area and through Northern California. And we did a lot of fundraising for people. And on one of those shows, we were raising money for a mother and her daughter who had just lost their home. Kristen sang, and I'm going to play that song. It's a juxtaposition. You'll see Kristen singing, and then you'll see this mother and her daughter, and then some images of their home before and after the fire. And to me, I appreciate our first responders. I appreciate our firefighters. I appreciate the men that are like Andrew, that have served with good intention. And so that's why I chose this particular video. It's powerful. And I think some of you who are old timers will remember when we showed it before. And it's a very, very powerful moment indeed. So here we go with our dear Kristen Hoffman. And it takes me a moment just to pull it up. Here we go. Now, it's a really, really precious moment. Come on, Zoom. Come and give me my options. There we go.
No, thank you so much for having me on. I really appreciate everything you guys are doing for everyone. And it was really lovely to hear Redwood talk about his story. I feel like I'm really wanting to hear from other people who have gone through this type of thing, just to kind of grasp sort of the grief of it all. I don't know if you want me to share, just sort of bring you through the pictures. We were given about 10 minutes to evacuate. It was pretty far. That was our house before. And that's what happened about a month ago. October 17th was when the fire broke out, and it just really spread quickly within a matter of hours. About 26 homes were lost in North Boulder. That's the back of the house looking inward into the basement. You know, it was my dream house, and it was on the side of the mountain, and it was just like, you know, Brad was saying, also has beautiful backyard, beautiful trees and so forth. So it's hard looking at some of the photos, but yeah, so we, my family, I have two small children, and my husband and I, we evacuated, we took our dogs, we had two bunnies, and everyone was safe. And my parents actually also lived with us. And they were just living with us temporarily while they got back on their feet, and then they lost everything. So, but you know, we feel really lucky and we feel very blessed. Like, the whole Boulder community has been just so incredible and very supportive. And you know, it's my home. I was born there. I was born in Boulder, and the
Courtney, you just froze. This is the Community
Sacred Ceremonies
Foundation Relief Fund.
as well. And they had introduced me to you all, and so the donations aren't necessarily directly for me. It would be for the entire community, and it's called the 2020 Fire Relief Fund, and it's supporting individuals who really need it. We were lucky enough to have insurance, and you know, I have my job and my husband has his job, and so we feel just really lucky. But you know, now we're homeschooling our children with no home, so it's been quite the year. But this organization is putting together relief efforts for the land restoration, which is something that's really going to be important for us. It's extremely expensive to restore land after a fire, and doing as much as we can to try and get it back up and going. So anyways, the donation link helps many people. It also helps nonprofits helping the individuals who have lost their homes, as well as the restoration of the land, and trying to figure out what we're going to do.
Thank you so much, Courtney, for coming on and sharing your story and your heart. And we're going to have Kristen Hoffman come and sing for us again as people take some time to make a donation to the fund. And yeah, I mean, it's so deeply touching to see the pictures and to know that in a moment you had 10 minutes, like same with Redwood, like to get out and then to have everything gone in those moments. And we just really want you to feel our love and our care and our support, and, you know, as if it were us. That's how we have to care for each other, as if it were us. So thank you so much for your
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Kristen, will you come and bring some music while we take some time to make a contribution to these funds?
Yes. I want to share an improv, or a piece that I call soul om. When I go into an improv space, I envision that it's soul or light weaving with om, the vibration of the universe. So Courtney, just sending this piece to you. And as I'm diving into this improv, I like to think that we are all consciously co-creating this piece together from our hearts. So just feel this music, and may it bring you some healing. the heart of the world, in the heart of the world. Oh, land, can we feel you dancing? Oh, I feel you dancing. Hear you in our lives.
That's our beloved Kristen Hoffman, whom I know we all love so very much. And, you know, I'd chosen to show that today prior to hearing what grandmother Mona had to say. But isn't it interesting how Mona talked about how we all have to come together? And really so many of you are saying that. And it's a reminder as we saw people coming together and hearing even this woman who's lost her home, talking about how grateful she was that the way people were coming together. So I hope that touched people's hearts, certainly as much as it touched mine watching it again. And I've watched it many times before. John and Summer, you first introduced me to Kristen. I don't know if you remember that, but I met her through the two of you. And we're going to go to Sattva and Conscious Life Expo in a moment, and then really drop deep into tonight's theme. But is there anything, what came up for you watching that just now?
Well, Kristen is an incredible sister and family member in our lives. And
Great artist.
Incredible. You know, how important it is that as we connect and care for each other, that we sing together and we dance together and we laugh together. The sacredness of, you know, seize the day. How beautiful can this moment be as we cry and smile and hug and love? Because we don't know what the next 10 minutes are going to bring. That's what comes up for me.
Yeah.
Beautiful. You know, that's actually a perfect segue because a lot of us are going to be coming together next weekend in person. Now, I'm certainly grateful for Zoom. I'm grateful for the 500 shows that we've done, and I'm sure we're going to do hundreds more. But next weekend, a lot of us are going to be gathering together in Los Angeles for the Conscious Life Expo. Just last night, I'm here in San Diego visiting friends, and everybody was saying, are you going to be at the expo? Are you going to be at the expo? Now, of course, people in San Diego, it's easier to get down there. But the Conscious Life Expo is really an incredible opportunity. As I looked at the schedule, about half of the people on the schedule have been on this show. And we have with us tonight the executive director of the Conscious Life Expo. Welcome, Sattva. Welcome, and I'm glad you're with us. Welcome to the Awakening World.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Yes, we can.
Great. Well, so it's coming soon. It starts on Friday. We have opening ceremony at 1 p.m. on Friday, so don't miss it. It's 4 days of a lot of things going on. We have over 200 speakers and 200 exhibitors. We have a lot of new speakers this year that I've been bringing in, and so it should be it's a new thing, especially after the last 2 years that we've had. To come together with so many people is really special. To meet in person, and we're looking at similar numbers of people coming as to before COVID. So we're looking at a really great show.
You know, I've known your father for 30 years, collaborating with him in a wide variety of the expo. It's had different names over the years. And what has it been like for you to kind of grow up watching your father creating this and running it, and now running the show yourself? What's that like?
Well, to clarify, we're still co-producing, so it's a give and take with Robert. What is it like? I mean, my father's Robert Quicksilver. He's been doing the show for the last 20 years. And you know, I grew up in an interesting New Age kind of culture. You know, grew up with Buddhism and with Hinduism. My mom was a yoga teacher. I understood about chakras at an early age. So I really, it's really like a native religion to me, in a way that a lot of the New Age community comes to it from some other upbringing. And so it gives me different insight and different kind of perspective on the whole thing, because I've internalized it in a different way.
I can only imagine. Well, next weekend, everybody, we are going to be doing our Awakening World shows from the expo. And I've got a room, of course, at the Hilton where it's happening. And so a lot of the people, I'm just going to name some of the people that have already agreed. They're going to come up to my room and sit next to me and share their wisdom. Of course, beloved brother Daniel Brinkley, who I've known since 1994, when I first put him on the other side. Joan of Angels is going to join us, Robert Barala, Suzanne Ross. I'm going to be at her show in Sedona in March. Kimberly Meredith, who's going to be at our retreat in Los Angeles at the end of March, is going to be coming up. Those are just some of the people. Mickey Willis, and of course the Twin Ray. I should just stop right now and say the Twin Ray Sattva are probably two of our favorite people. They've been on this show a dozen times. We love the Twin Ray. They've become very close friends of mine. And you're in for a treat. I'm delighted they're going to be there.
Yeah, I haven't met them yet, but our one of our co-producers, Christine, brought them in and is very, very excited about them. And
definitely,
they have a lot of events, so if you can't make one of them, then you can definitely make the other. I think there's 3 events, one on Friday, one on Saturday, and one on Sunday. So Twin Ray is definitely going to be an interesting and special event. And there's others. There's a lot of new people, a lot of new millennials and Gen Z people that are coming in. Elizabeth April and Stargirl are 2 that are really popular right now, and I'm excited to see what they're going to bring.
And speaking of Elizabeth April, Elizabeth's been on this show many times, but people may not know Elizabeth is pregnant. She is 7 months pregnant. She's planning on hobbling up to the room, so hopefully you'll be seeing Elizabeth and her baby on the Awakening World next weekend. But of course, if at all possible, come down to Los Angeles. It's worth it. It's going to be an incredible show. Sattva, I hope I get a chance to meet you next weekend.
I will be running around. I'm sure I'll see you at one point. Yeah.
And hopefully I'll grab a 10-second handshake as you run around.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you so much. If you get a chance, stay for the show.
Yeah, of course.
It's a powerful topic tonight. And thank you for all that you and your dad, Robert, do to put together this amazing show. And it's going to be quite a weekend. So thank you for being with us, and I look forward to seeing you next weekend.
All right. Of course.
You know, it's so amazing how unscripted Summer was talking about how we have to sing and dance. Well, we will be singing and dancing and listening to each other in person at the expo. And for those of you who can't make it, that's why the Awakening World will be bringing you highlights of the expo and some of your favorite presenters. All right, we're going to get into the meat now of our show. And Phil, I've got the spotlight back on you. I'm going to bring Andrew on and grandmother. And I'd love for you now to really take us into the covenant and what you want to share from the covenant.
So what I'd like to do here is to, wait, can you see that all right?
Yes, yeah, that's perfect. Yep, we see it.
1 second here. Let me learn how to do this so I can find this thing that John shared with me. Here we
John,
go.
feel free to direct him.
Yeah.
It's the play button. The Zoom may be in the controls, may be in the way. It's to your left. Just looks like a little play button. Now, there you go. You got it. That's it.
There it is.
Yeah, it's put that thing's in the way though.
Yeah, move it. You can grab it and move it, but you're exactly on the right spot.
Yeah, if you click
Oh, hang on.
right where you're.
There we go. Now, let me see if I can, for some reason.
You did. Oh, there you go. Oh,
There we go. Okay.
Perfect. Yay.
So we got, let me just move this over here. Okay, so first of all, I want to thank again everybody for joining us. Let me see where I push the button. Okay.
Usually if you just press the space bar, just the space bar should move it.
There we are. Oh, it's not happening here. Hang on. There we go. So this really begins down in Bolivia, and I want to really give the credit to the indigenous Quechuas and Aymaras who really took me in and really enlightened me on the whole prophecy of the reunion of the condor and eagle, which is now expanded as we've grown to the reunion of the condor, the quetzal, the hummingbird, and the eagle. These are the beloved brothers and sisters who work with me. These were volunteer traveling teachers who came, who spread out. There was hundreds of them all across Bolivia, all across the Andes, who were carrying this message that we had. There we go. Here is really the time when this prophecy of the reunion of the condor and eagle was fulfilled. This is on the stairs leading up to the high altar on the Island of the Sun in Lake Titicaca on July 9th, 1971. It was here that it was, as prophesied, the eagle from the north came together with the condor of the south. And these beloved relatives are now in the spiritual world. I know most of them are still with us close in our closest of age. So in 1982, we brought elders together at the University of Lethbridge to begin our journey towards the year 2000 at that point. And that was our first goal, was to really begin addressing alcoholism and drug abuse. And so beginning then, the elders gave us the beginning of the 16 principles for building a sustainable, harmonious, and prosperous world. And I never forget how we summarized this incredible meeting we had between Christmas and New Year's 1982. And essentially what the elders told us was this universe we live in is organized according to physical, spiritual, and physical laws. They said the physical laws are easy to understand. You jump off a 10-story building on your head, you get a headache. You drive into a concrete wall going 100 miles an hour, you're going to get a headache. So over a period of 12 years in consultation, which the last 2 years were over 500 relatives came together at the University of Lethbridge during our summer institutes. So every year, we beginning with these 4 principles, and we went to 7, and finally 16. And then we were able in 1985, let me see, it was it was 1990, I'm getting my time mixed up here. 1995, we then brought these principles to the United Nations, to Perez de Cuellar and the Global Council for Culture and Development. And so we brought them, and it was the first time we brought these 16 principles to the world. From there, we began sharing them throughout the Americas. And here we are at the Otami National Cultural Center, built, by the way, by their own hands in 1982. And there's a huge sculpture of the condor and eagle coming together. And so there was representatives there of 100,000, leadership of 100,000 indigenous people signing these agreements, that the very same covenant that was later shared with our dear veteran relatives. Then here we are at the Rio Plus 20 with our relatives from the Amazon, again, sharing and agreeing to these sacred principles that and this is, by the way, just a snapshot of the many places this happened. And here we are preparing to share the sacred pipe with our relatives there to bind this together, as we did in March 2022 with our veterans that came together to really move this covenant forward. Here we are, and I really want to thank Steve Dinan, because This is at the Summit of the Americas that was held in Panama in 2015. At that time, they tried to interrupt what had happened up to that time, where we also had a summit of Indigenous people. They tried to say essentially, well, Indigenous people have no special rights, they're just part of civil society. We said no, and we had 4 days to raise the monies to bring everybody together. And Steve Dinan and the Shift Network stepped in, and we were able to raise $63,000 in 4 days, which then led to the coming together over 300 representatives across the Americas, in which we came to agreement on this very covenant. And here is a picture of us moving towards the Summit of the Americas itself, which was shrouded by U.S. trained SWAT teams. And so we came up to SWAT relatives, and I remember I looked over at them, and I was shared with them in Spanish. I said, brothers, you must be very, very hot in these uniforms. It was very hot outside. But we made it through. It took us 2 days, but we made it through the SWAT teams and so forth, and then delivered our message to President Evo Morales, who then in turn shared all these principles and this covenant with all 36 leaders of the 36 nation states, colonial nation states, who gathered there in Panama. Then fast forward to this past March, where we joined forces with our beloved relatives, Special Forces relatives. And I want to say that it was a beloved Dene Navajo relative there. And I'm going to say so many of our Indigenous people, our Native Americans, have served in the U.S. Armed Forces clear back from World War I. In fact, one of my names I received was from Chantewa Strongheart, who fought in World War I before he was a citizen. And I remember when I got my name, his eye had been gassed. Here is one of the wonderful veterans here, Secretary of State, Secretary of Defense, Christopher Miller. I have to say that I just really felt for him, because in this whole political process, and we had a good visit, and this adversarial political system is just sick, totally sick. It was a fine man who came the best he could to serve the country, and was just ripped to pieces and stuck in the back, knifed in the back. We say you get arrows in the back and bullets in the front. Well, he got I don't know how many bullets he got in the front, but I sure know he got a few knives in the back. Of course, here's with Andrew and Secretary of Defense Chris Miller. We had a teepee there. On that teepee was written the names of all those veterans who didn't make it home. And that night, the last night, Sister Mona and our dear brother, we had a very sacred ceremony, NAC ceremony there for the runners that chose to come there during that night, that last night they were running. And here, of course, you saw this picture. So all those relatives who picked up these sacred stakes and staked themselves down and came together in moving forward this sacred covenant. Now, I'm going to say that on April 3rd to the 5th is the Independent National Convention, bringing together all the independent parties. We are now bringing this sacred covenant to all U.S. political parties. We're going to formally do that at the Independent National Convention in Austin, Texas, the 3rd to the 5th, where I'm honored to do the opening prayer and a keynote address, where I'm going to address transcending adversarial politics. I'm just going to briefly go through this. These are the 16 principles. There's a whole in-depth, almost book written about what each of these principles mean. Human beings can transform the world. Development comes from within, which is something, in fact, it comes within everything. Everything comes within. Healing, so important. The healing dimension of this. We all have healing to do. Only hurt people, only colonize people. We have to remember that all of us need healing. Justice is the foundation of this new civilization emerging. Everyone, regardless of gender, race, age, culture, religion, all must be accorded equal opportunity to participate in the process of healing and development. and to receive a fair share of the benefits. No vision, no development. And I want to say the greatest vision there is our own being. We are the curricula. Each one of us is that most profound curriculum in the lives of our children and lives of our human family. We have to understand that authentic development is culturally based. Respect each and every culture that brings about kindness and love and compassion, and understand that we all have that as a foundation. Interconnectedness, we've been talking about this whole evening. Everything is interconnected. So when we do anything in one place, it affects the other. Personal, social, cultural, political, economic. No unity, no development. The greatest disease of community is disunity. And I can say this, and I've said it, in our indigenous communities, the greatest challenge we have is our own disunity. Once and more as we get further and further united, we will be better able, all of us, to fulfill the sacred prophecies. No participation, no development. We have to open up so all people participate. We have to have systems that are transparent and all people can see and know the truth in what's happening. The hurt of one is a hurt of all, and the honor of one is the honor of all. So the development for the benefit of one side to the other doesn't fit. Spirit. The spiritual dimension. Human beings are both material and spiritual in nature. So we have to balance that dimension of both the spiritual and the physical. Morals and ethics. You cannot build, the elders said, a good human being or a new civilization, a new way of relating on dishonesty, on all those things that are bringing us down the tube. They're leading us to war, greed, arrogance, all those dimensions. There's no way we can do that. Learning. That's the center of the whole thing. We all are about having to learn. From the time we're in the womb to the time we pass to the other side camp. Oh, did you that change here somehow? Okay. Are you still seeing, what are you seeing now? Be fishing?
We're seeing principle number 13, learning.
Okay, somehow or another. Hang on, let me go back here. I ended up popping off this, so I'm seeing the front of my hair. We go. Okay. Strange. Okay. Are we at 14?
No,
Yeah.
we're still at 13.
Okay, just a moment. Give me a someone here. Somehow or another. Probably need John's help. I've ended up in my
Try arrow, hitting the arrow or space bar. That should move you forward.
But the problem is I'm not seeing on my screen. I'm seeing a whole different thing here.
Okay.
I'm not seeing the actual.
All right, let's stop your sharing and just share again.
Okay, very good. Thank you so much. Here, I wanted to be just right.
It's all about learning. Learning is healing.
Well done, John.
Hey, see, you got me right there.
Perfect principle.
That's a good point, John. Thank you so much. Okay, here we go. Okay.
Try sharing.
Hmm?
If you try sharing again, it should pick up at that spot.
Okay, here we go. Nope, let's come right back to my front page again.
All right, because you're sharing your desktop. Don't share your desktop. So stop your sharing. Yeah.
We'll stop again.
Okay, we're in this together. We're with you.
All righty. Thank you so much.
You go to share, look for the.
Okay, now I'm going to try to share my screen. Here we go. I was just right there.
For the keynote.
Okay, but it doesn't show that. I'm sorry.
Keynote's not there? Okay, when you stop sharing, go back to your toolbar and hit keynote.
Back to my key.
Okay.
Okay, now I can go up here to my space bar.
Yeah, I'm looking for where is keynote there.
It's not there.
That little dock on the bottom, the little, yeah, I see it. It's right there.
Okay, it's right.
To the left, to the left.
To the left.
Right there, you oh, to the right. You're so close.
Right there.
That's it. That's it.
Hey,
Hey.
learning is learning. Whoa, thank you so much. Whoa.
You're back on the horse.
You know, I understand why they say that in every blanket we weave, there's always a mistake. You know, and that is one. Human beings are learning beings, which I've just learned very well. Thank you so much. Learning is the core of healing and development. Sustainability. Authentic development does not use up or undermine what it needs to keep on going. Principle 15, move to the positive. We need to stand in our strength and move the positive alternative we wish to create without giving away our energy fighting the negative. Again, these are explained in depth in the covenant. Be the change you want to see. And we know that Gandhi made this point very clear. Also, we know our elders live this way, to walk your talk. The most powerful strategies for change always involve positive role model and creation of living examples. Now, these are the principles for consultation. This is what we recommend that be the foundation of discussions at the Independent National Convention. We'll go and read them through. You have in the document, respect each participant, appreciate each other's diversity, value and consider all contributions, share in the group's mission, expect the truth to emerge from the clash of different opinions. One stated, let go of opinions. Want to say on the clash of different opinions, that's with love and compassion. And the final is, we discussed this for a long time, and what we're saying here is this, that when we had days and days and days to consult, we come to consensus. But after full, frank, and loving consultation, we come to a place where we need to vote. And the majority says, let's go this way. Then in order to ensure that we can most readily find if there's mistakes been made, we come together in unity. Because what's happening today, if somebody comes with a good idea because they're part of another party, everybody gets it. We don't know if it's a good idea or because people have undermined it. These are the, we came together and agreed are the spiritual qualities of principle-centered leaders: spiritually centered, morally strong, believes in people's capacity to heal, engaged in her own healing journey, listens to people, shows respect for the Creator, Mother Earth, and all persons, can work well in a team, strives to work from a position of forgiveness, unity, and harmony. And these, the last part we're going to share of this is about 77 pages long, but this is what we found in going to Indigenous communities. First of all, the basic physical needs, but unlike Maslow's hierarchy of needs, the next thing we feel is important after your basic physical needs are met is spirituality and a sense of purpose. Next is life-sustaining values, morals, and ethics, safety and security, adequate income and sustainable economies, adequate power, not what we have today, social justice and equity, cultural integrity and identity, community solidarity and social support, strong families and healthy child development, especially remembering mothers, how key mothers are to the building of this new global civilization, healthy ecosystems, sustainable relationship between human beings and the natural world, critical learning opportunities, adequate human services, social net, meaningful work and service to others. So I want to thank you. This is just a snapshot of the Sacred Covenant. With unprecedented unified action, may we unify our human family in war and begin peace by 2030. Thank you.
Thank you, Phil. I'm going to bring Andrew back on, keep John and Summer on with us.
Yes.
And here's grandmother Mona. I'm going to bring her on. And of course, now we're beginning to get some comments from people about, how powerful this is. I'm just going to read a couple of comments, and then I'd love to hear from Andrew and Mona and John and Summer. Dia Therese writes, Chief Phil, Grand Prieur at the March 28th Wisdom event I will be there with yours truly, and my piano teacher, Dolly, who was the first person at age 18 to play and sing Let There Be Peace on Earth. The couple who wrote the song in 1954 in Los Angeles have a daughter who Dolly is getting in touch with. Anyway, that's pretty exciting. That's all about the March 28th event, which I'll talk about later on tonight. That many of us are going to be at. John, Summer, Phil, myself. It's very, very beautiful. I think Laura Chamberlain sums it up quite beautifully, and then I want to hear from Andrew and John and Summer and Grandmother. Laura writes, wow, Phil, these are powerful pictures along with your powerful principles. These are uplifting to my heart. The new earth is being created by you and all of these loving people who you have highlighted and all of the people of love from around the world. Thank God. And it's being created by everybody watching. If you can hear our voice right now, you are the imaginal cells. We're coming together. We are creating the butterfly that is the new paradigm. We are creating the awakening world as we awaken ourselves. So everybody is important. We happen to be the ones on camera tonight. But if you're listening, if you hear this voice, you are just as important as any of us.
Yes.
Andrew, I'd love to, people are actually saying, Donna wrote, I want to hear from Andrew. So Donna, I'm going to ask Andrew to speak.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you, Donna. Just hearing that from Chief reminded me why it was so easy to understand and to feel while this connection that we had with each other and the commitment that we had to living this covenant was so evident. And so he had sent that to me several months before we had our event, because it was, very important to me. If you're going to commit to anything, you should know it inside and out. And so, he sent me that very long document, and I read every word and took a highlighter to it and wanted to make sure I understood everything, the concepts and the context behind it, how it came about, the vision for it moving forward, how do you see this, being enforced type of thing. So what I'm saying is, it was important to me that we did our due diligence to understand it, to understand where Chief's true intention and heart was. And what revealed itself to me was that this was the best effort to put out something that we thought could allow us to play the highest note that we can know as a humanity, to do our best to create, like we said, with the change that we want to see. And okay, so then what do you do after that? We brought our best. We brought the best from our community, whether that was, bringing Secretary of Defenses and other people of similar status in the war fighting community that we had come from, to come together in unity, say that we understood what had happened in the past. We understood our role in it. We understood the necessary continuation that is leading, and that is the present moment, and how that has positioned the individuals that came together with Chief Phil, his camp, the Indigenous leadership there with our veteran leaders. What became known to me last year, I spoke on the last broadcast, about me being in close proximity to over 1,000 explosions, and that's par for the course with our community and the special operations community. And I talked about this is a new level of warfare which humankind has never seen, because we've never been in this type of warfare, to be in these close explosions. But it's funny because they use this false patriotism to lure in the best of a generation in hopes to silence them, and then to endure traumas, medicate them, and put them on the sidelines if they weren't taken out altogether. But for those of us that did survive and have awakened to this new purpose in life, I find it now funny and humorous that the skill sets that we've put together is now being used to create this new world that we speak of. And I'll give some examples. When the fall of Afghanistan happened several years ago, it was just detrimental to all of us. But overnight, without the use of any government or any corporation, the very people that fought in that war over there, us as special operators, mobilized overnight using air and our own air assets, our own sea assets, our own intelligent network, to without a shot move over 5,000 Afghans at a highly a difficult situation where their lives were being in pursuit by the Taliban that had come into play because our own government would no longer move them out. We were able to unify and move people out of the country again without firing a shot because of the skill sets that we had amassed. So what that showed me is our ability to organize, to be the ability to create outcomes that we never thought that were feasible before. And what I was talking about with those explosions is a finely attuned central nervous system. And so what we had there at that event was 100 or so individuals, just like myself, that because of all these explosions that we've been in, have a very highly attuned central nervous system. It's my understanding that that covenant there together, we were able to bring in these very significant frequencies that otherwise would not be able to come in, because human beings can't hold that level of frequency. And it was because of the covenant that we had staked with these stakes that Chief Philip talked about in the ground. And when we say we mean it and our life depends on it, and we will do everything in our power, if it even costs us our life, to live these values, that was what everyone there at that ceremony committed. And I think on a spiritual level, the complications between those rival factions with the indigenous and the military, at least on this land, was able truly to be forgiven and move past as we will go in and we unite in this good way, as Grandma Mona says, in this unified way. And so what I'm seeing now is from my community is more and more of these leaders awakening to who we really are, and that we all are connected, and what the new mission is. And that is what this, to me, this covenant is about. And that's when I read the guiding principles, it was a no-brainer, as you say, because that's what we attempt to aspire to live by. So my hope is that my actions speak louder than words, that we continue to be the best that we can be to create the change that we want to see in the world, that we reach out to those who are in desperate need, to support them, to give them the love and the care that they need so they can heal, as Chief spoke about, so they can have clarity of mind once again. Because what we're seeing today on a mass level is this mass, from my perspective, mass disorientation. A lot of it comes from a clarity of mind, many of which, people in my community from war are experiencing. And then you throw on all of the psychotropic medications and everything else, and it's a further and further debilitating circle. So being able to provide one the ability to have clarity of mind once again allows them to reawaken to that true purpose. So again, I'm honored to be here. I'm honored to share our vision, our story, our intent for the future. Really feel connected to this group, and Scott, I just want to thank you for giving the platform for us to communicate.
Thank you, Andrew. And I'm glad you talked about what happened when the Taliban took over Afghanistan, because I've always wondered, holy moly, what is that like for guys like yourself who gave so much, and then to just see it all kind of, wow.
It's devastating. It's devastating, and I thought that I had put all my work in to address and confront the things that needed to be confronted and to evolve from. But what that showed me was the pain. I experienced a lot of pain, a lot of hurt, a lot of suffering. I felt lied to. I felt used. When many of my friends are no longer now with us, on the physical plane, and you realize you're doing the same thing over and over again for 20 years with no basic strategy. And you ask yourself, like, I personally cleared this valley in 2009, and then I lost a friend that cleared the same valley in 2013, and 4 more in 17, and 3 more in 2019. That doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. And so again, the pain was real, and I had to understand my unwitting role in it all. Now I have a clear conscience for everything that I've done and experienced. Absolute clear conscience. I know not everybody does, but I had to understood that, hey, I fell prey to false patriotism, used in a bow tie and wrapped up in a certain way that was used to get the best of a generation in these scenarios. I feel to do just that, to silence them. And but we're not going to be silenced, and we're not going to be broken. And the healing of one is the healing of all. And the vision is clear, and our work is clear. And our actions do speak louder than words. And again, the hurt was real, Scott, but we came together. We're able to bring out over 5,000 individuals without firing a shot, without using any military force. That's because of the skill sets that we've amassed over that time. We're not putting that to use today in all types, different forms and fashions, to bring in this new element of peace that we want to see in the world.
Thank you for sharing that. We of course watched the video that was from over 2 years ago. And if people want to donate, I don't think we need to donate to the fire victims from 2.5 years ago, but I would like to encourage people to consider donating to the organization that Andrew has created or co-founded. And again, it's I'm going to it now, it's the Warrior Angels Foundation. And there are ways that you can donate there. You can watch the film. There's Brian and Andrew and Kevin. So this is an amazing organization. And it's really easy to donate. Just go to, again, warriorangelsfoundation.org, donate. And this is where I'd like to encourage people to donate tonight. Let's support that. But I do appreciate those of you that, after seeing the Kristen video, felt inspired to want to donate again. And thank you again, Andrew. We'll hear from you one more time. I do want to go to Omashar for a little bit of music, because we have a lot to integrate those incredible 16 principles that Brother Phil shared, and to integrate just the story that Andrew just shared. So, Brother Omashar, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Okay, thank you, everybody. I feel everything so deeply. I have no words. It's beyond words, and luckily we are the remedy. And the song is called "Out of the Blue," and I've played it before in a radical metaphysical pop version. This is the unplugged version, and it's about our ancestors who are coming forward to help us lead the way. And so here we are doing that.
Whatever happened to the ones that came before? Did they just vanish into the blue? Maybe they're living the dream we know to be true, and reaching their hands back out of the blue. Heart is so ready to embrace all that's new. I feel the love calling for me to break on through. With peace on my mind, I know that I'm coming to a new way of life that feels so true. There's nothing here to hold me back from you. The clouds of my life have blown away. My lightness of being lifts me every day. I find myself feeling not so blue. My heart is so ready to embrace all that's new. I feel the love calling for me to break on through. With peace on my mind, I know that I'm coming to a new way of life that feels so true.
That was a good one.
Yeah.
Very good one. Wow.
Yes.
You know, I'm going to bring Eleanor Joy on for a moment, because really, as you sing and she dances, and God bless her.
Perfect team.
You're quite a team. And Eleanor Joy did have another couple of trips to the emergency room this week. I don't know how her doctors would feel about her dancing away, but I so appreciate that she does. And I made a little poster for her the other day. So this is a reminder for everybody: maximum grace for Eleanor Joy. Maximum grace for Eleanor Joy. Maximum grace for Eleanor Joy. And keep on dancing, Eleanor. And a reminder that we always want to support Omar Shah by buying his music. You know, let's support this guy. And it's easy. Just go to omarshar.bandcamp.com. omarshar.bandcamp.com. That's how we can support his music.
Thank you so much, Scott.
I'd like to hear from Grandmother Mona in a moment. I do want to read just a couple of comments that have come in, because you, our audience, you're important to us. A lot of people, of course, Charlotte and Sheila and Laura and Summer and Joy, John, all appreciating your music. Mark Denisovsky appreciating your music. Mark writes, deep groove ownership, Omar Shah. Beautiful, deep, polished, inspiring performance. We're all feeling it. That's from Mark, who's a pro. So that feels good. Grace wrote, what we need is universal compassion, universal forgiveness, universal wisdom, universal understanding, revolutionary, visionary, positive, loving peace path forward. Aho, aho. Dia wrote, Andrew, I am feeling so much love for you. I cannot thank you enough. Namaste. And so many other comments like that. I would love to hear from Grandmother Mona. We haven't heard from her for a little while. Of course, we're beginning to wind down. But Grandmother, I'm putting the spotlight on you and would love to hear whatever final thoughts or words you'd like to share tonight.
First of all, I'd just like to say thank you for having me, and also for all the work you all are doing. And also acknowledge and give thanks to our good relative, Andrew, for all that you're doing, and going ahead and taking, a stand, for all of your children, your future, and for your brothers and sisters that have served with you, and then also the ones before. And it's, to me, it's like there has, we're at this point. We're at this sort of like, I guess, a crossroads, and it's I always think of it like a seed that was planted, and like that seed of determination, and that the discipline and the dedication that you have. And to me, it's something that comes from a long line of your ancestors, and somewhere in that line, that thought, that feeling, that idea, and the action you're taking, came from somewhere over there. And now you've accepted it and are carrying it on, and sure enough, just like the plants and the roots of the plants, there's more that keep growing and keep reaching out further and further, and I guess in a way what I visualize is I visualize the earth, our mother, and in the way that she's connected to us, how we're connected to her. We eat off of her, we hang on to her, everything, that connection. And through that connection, we are connected. We look at each other, and I don't know, maybe these are differences that people are fighting about, really basic differences. And it's time to, stop and look and realize that, those things that we're fighting over, they all seem to have the same results. Not only in taking lives of our children, but also the degradation that occurs of all the things that we depend on for real life: the water, the earth, the plant, the food that we eat. All of those things are being impacted. And so now, it seems to me that this is spirit-led. It's spirit-led. It's the spirit of our ancestors. It's the spirit of the water. It's the spirit of the earth. It's the spirit of the fire, the sun. It's the spirit of our air. To me, that's how I see it. That's what it is. It's a divine intervention. And it's up to us, we each make our own choice of whether we're going to be a part of it or not. And if you don't choose to be a part of it, as one of my Hopi elders said, all hell will break loose. But, it's just like it's like that right and that wrong, the positive, the negative. It's like that. Those that go this way are going to go, off into wherever they're going. But then we are of the earth. So the way I was told is that, Mother Earth, she's going to go on without us. So if we want to go on with Mother Earth, then we have to make that choice to come into this light, this awakening that you're talking about.
Beautiful.
Those are some of the, just thinking about my own ancestry, the things that were told to me about how to live in this world. That's what I'm speaking from. Those messages that they give to me, the way that they guide me and put me in places where I make a prayer first, and then I go ahead and have an opportunity to speak like you're giving to me tonight. I don't believe I'm the one who put me there. I don't believe my brother Phil is the one who put me there. I believe that it's all of those bloodlines, those ancestors that have brought me to this point in time. And that's the thinking, that's the worldview of Indigenous people. We know, we always acknowledge and recognize that connection to our ancestry, because within our blood are all the messages, all of that lifelong knowledge from time immemorial. It's within our blood. Mm-hmm. So that's what I'm speaking from. Mm-hmm. Is that what my connection is? I can only speak for my connection and my bloodline, my children, my grandchildren, my great-grandchildren, and the ones I'm not going to see. Mm. So that's, that's just the way I'm, thinking and feeling, as I was told, what you when you can speak from what you feel, what you think, what you heard, what you saw, then, that's that's your truth. That's your, that connection that is important for us to, remember and honor. Thank you.
Thank you, Mona. There's many comments that have come in appreciating you. I'm just going to read one from Morgine Jordan. Thank you, Mona, for all you share. I am so connected to the earth, and so few people honor that the earth provides everything we need for our lives to exist. We create nothing out of nothing. Food, water, materials for everything we eat, use, wear, all of our devices, homes, cars, roads, everything, and on comes from our beloved Mother Earth. We must connect to our ancestors, and that includes our human family and the earth. Thank you, Mona, for sharing from your heart. And that really, I think, sums up how so many of us feel. And it's an honor to meet you, and thank you for an incredible lifetime of service. I posted in the chat box a little while ago your background and all the social work you've done, and working with different United Nations committees, and being the president CEO of the Turtle Island Project. So, please, thank you for receive our appreciation for a life well lived. And I sure hope we'll get a chance to meet you again sometime.
Really, thank you.
Namaste. Well, we're winding down. I'd like to hear from John and Summer one final time. Then we've got just a few announcements that are very important. And then Brother Phil will lead a closing prayer. And then we've got a closing video from Christian Hoffman. But there's John and Summer. And, there was a funny thing going on that if you ever go back and watch the video, in the background, way in the back, is Summer dancing. And we want to see Summer dancing, but in the foreground is like John furiously working on something
making
important.
Making a donation.
That's dancing too. Making donations is
Those
dancing.
fingers were dancing. God bless you for the donation.
And Summer made a wave. It's over 120 pages. This is an example of what we all can do together. The trust that's been placed in us to share. So if you go out onto the Love Coach Academy page, you'll see that, and you can share it too. I mean,
Yeah.
you know,
Add to the wave, contribute.
for me, awareness plus commitment is what makes change. And we've had the privilege to be made aware of something so profound and eternal and natural and timeless.
Mm.
You know, and I want to, Dr. King said, those who love peace need to learn to organize as effectively as those who love war.
Mm.
And that is exactly the challenge before us. And therefore, Andrew, I just want to pledge our love and support. Because like I said, I've been down that journey with those principles. And we are at a moment, and just, I'm going to put it in the chat now, but Brother Phil hosted a session, what we're calling the Pathways to Peace, a session that was on peace, nuclear war, or peace on earth. And this he just shared out, and we're involved right now, all of us. This is a crucial moment. You know, I'm mentioning Dr. King again and again because we're in the 40 days of peace inspired by his work. But he was saying that our scientific power has outrun our spiritual power. We have guided missiles and misguided men. And when we talk about coming together now, this is the time to finally transcend our differences, to accept that we have conflicting interpretations. The game of right and wrong and assigning blame is killing us. There is a way beyond that separation. There is a way to respect with empathy and understand that our conflicting interpretations is not making any one of us right. We're going to all be dead in the end if we don't turn this around. Right and dead is not an option. Unfortunately, it's headed that way. This is an incredible moment. So what we're doing, all of us, is weaving our strategies together. You, like a member of our alliance, Scott, Jim Garrison with Humanity Rising is hosting a summit, the Ukraine Summit. And we want between now and then to get all the views on the table. And maybe in this incredible moment of risk, we can actually turn this around. And it's not just knowing that we're one, it's actually breathing life into those principles and being there for each other where your concerns are concerns, where love leads the way. You know, to overcome oppression and violence without resorting to oppression and violence, and not retaliation and revenge. And enemy creation is the pattern we're so used to. We have to say, this is the, we're right, they're wrong. We got to get beyond the right and wrong. This is the game. This is the challenge before us. And I'm so inspired. I really think it's so bad that this may be the moment that we can actually turn it around. So deep bows to everybody here. Let's commit, all of us, to lean in. We're doing these teach-ins. We want to get all the views on the table. They're very different right now. We're so opposed and we're so divided that maybe this can actually be the moment that we say, wait a minute, let's awaken and remember to the oneness of our family and that there's a better way. You know, we used to eat people. Cannibalism was a way of life. I hope one day we'll say, my God, what were they thinking? They were killing each other. What were we thinking? Let us just say no more. What a game, Peace on Earth by 2030. I mean, I'm just moved by this and I'm ready to play with all I got. What do you want to say, baby?
Well said, baby.
Yeah. Not now, when? If not us, who?
You know, John, people are asking, is there really going to be a Ukraine summit? Ayada's asking, and yes, it's more than in the works. It's happening. So tell us a little bit about that.
Okay, this is another signed member, is Humanity Rising, Ubiquity University. From February 27th to March 3rd, Jim is hosting a Ukraine summit. Now, that's just going to be one summit. It was Zelensky who's called for a global peace formula summit. That's one pathway to peace. We got Jonathan Granoff speaking on Monday about human security and the timeless wisdom of Dr. King, and Rianne Eisler's wisdom about domination systems over partnership systems. We want to get all the views out. Like Phil said, the problem is the disunity. It's not about who's right and who's wrong. That's the game, like picking sides. We got to find a way beyond that. So that summit's going to happen on Humanity Rising. But what we're doing, if you go to compassiongames.org, you'll see all these upcoming, we're calling them teach-ins. Let's give room for all views and learn how to be more than right and wrong, yes, no, winner, loser. The enemy creation process is happening. You know, there are a lot of people looking at us and say, this is what happened with Iraq, the same game. You know, it's either getting behind the people that are creating the pain or the people that are enduring the pain. And Phil will tell you, if you watch that presentation that Phil gave, he lays it out with maps, exactly why there's a story that justifies and makes coherent to Vladimir Putin what he did. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying, but I'm saying there's more to this story, guys. And we just got to know it's not about right or wrong. That's the place. If we go there, we're doomed. Let's go beyond that and say, hey, everyone's concerns are valid. We've got to find a solution. And in fact, the great peacemaker, that was one of the things that surfaced there. It was a woman who said to him, take the fiercest of them all and put him in charge of making peace. Mm. And that's how the Iroquois Confederacy was formed. So we need a breakthrough. We need a new way of coming at these problems, not more of the same. So that's happening February 27th to March 3rd. In the chat, I put the link to the YouTube video that Phil shared on a really beautiful and insightful perspective, the Indigenous perspective on nuclear war or peace on earth. Check it out and reach out to me, John, at compassiongames.org or Summer. I mean, we're here to serve. This is the journey. This is the moment.
So this is the link to compassiongames.org. That's where you can connect with John and Summer. You can also donate to them. And they do amazing, beautiful work. They are two of our most important collaborators. They get us out through the Sign Network, through their network. And every show, I always thank you. We get out to today 130 different Facebook groups and pages watching this important show because of you guys. So
it's really because of everybody. We're just the ones that the trust has been placed in. So many people on this call, just to be clear, that's an example of what it looks like when we're doing it together. We need more examples.
Here, by the way, is the Sign Network. It takes a moment to load. Somebody wrote that the link wasn't working, but I checked and both links are working. Compassion Games and the Sign Network. It just takes a minute to load. So this is the Sign Network. It is a big part of probably many of you first learned about our show by watching us on one of the Facebook pages before you joined us. So John and Summer, I love you both. And they're going to be back in a few weeks. We're doing a show on February 25th, all about enlightened partnerships. And I can think of no greater enlightened partners than John and Summer. So they're going to be on that show.
Scott, I just want to say I'm so grateful and healed by the relationship between Phil and Andrew.
Mm-hmm.
And it is shining like the sun. And it has moved me way beyond words that I can say even here in this space. Thank you for your humble vulnerability and courage, as Grandmother Mona spoke to, of the courage, Andrew. Like, I just want you to know, brother, I see you, and I pray for your organization and all the veterans that get to find out about what you're doing as an opportunity of life-affirming opportunities for our dear brothers and sister veterans that are fighting for our country. Like, thank you. And I just think that the relationship that's going on here between you and Hereditary Phil is moving mountains of pain. So thank you.
Beautiful. All right. Andrew and Connie just put into the chat box the trust frequency, and I am so impressed with that vision that I really kind of came to understand it this week as I listened to their program. And next week, they'll be sitting right next to me up at the LA Conscious Life Expo talking all about that. That'll be one of the big parts of next weekend on the Awakening World. Well, I want to, Next weekend is a good weekend to be in Los Angeles for the expo. And then at the end of March is another time to come to Los Angeles. And again, it all starts on Tuesday night, March 28th, the LA Convergence. It's an all-day event being put on by our good friend Ben Bowler, Pato and Antoinette, Kristen Hoffman, John and Summer, Bob and Pookie, Kishi Chai. These are all Shri and Kira. These are all people who are going to be there, plus myself, who are going to be there. Music, dance, movement. It's going to be an incredible afternoon and evening. And you can get tickets for as low as $20. And so, again, I'll put the information into the chat box. Now, when I saw that they were doing this big event just for one day, I thought to myself, we're about due for another Global Peace Tribe retreat. And Shri and Kira were saying, we can't come all the way up just to speak for an hour or a half an hour at the Wisdom. So I said, well, let's do a whole retreat together. So Shri and Kira and myself, Bob and Pookie and others are going to extend it for an entire week. We're going to have our Global Peace Tribe retreat. Now, on Tuesday is the Convergence. On Wednesday, Pato and Antoinette are going to take people out to their land and do sacred ceremony. I'm imagining Chief Phil will be a big part of that. In the evening, we'll probably have some sort of music with Kristen Hoffman. And then the Global Peace Tribe retreat will start on Thursday. We're still putting together all the details, but I can say that Shri and Kira are planning on bringing their most trusted shaman, who's going to lead a ceremony on Thursday. They're going to lead a consciousness awareness experience. And most of all, Omoshar will be with us. He'll be playing at the Convergence on Tuesday, and of course, playing every day at the Global Peace Tribe retreat. Bob and Pookie will be playing. I'm still putting together all the details. I am juggling a lot of balls these days, so bear with me. But the most important thing is just mark off on your calendar. Get to LA, basically plan on being there for a week, starting on March 28th. A week in LA, and we'll all come together. The last retreat we had in Sedona was amazing, life-changing. I still have people telling me about that. So please mark that off. I will. And I know Charlotte and Jennifer are coming all the way down from Canada, so I want to acknowledge them. They're going to be there. I imagine hopefully Andrew and Connie will be there. And a lot of us are going to be together. So it's going to be very, very powerful. So want to see you next weekend, if at all possible, at the Conscious Life Expo. Otherwise, we'll bring the expo to you via the Awakening World. One last announcement before we go to our closing prayer. Tomorrow's show is all about ascension. Deborah Juicy, my former co-host, she literally wrote the book on ascension with Meg Benedicte, and they're going to be with us tomorrow morning, doing an entire show sharing their ascension tips. And really, it's like, what is ascension, or how do I really experience it? From tomorrow, you're going to get some great tips. Deborah did a presentation for us at our Sedona retreat, and it was amazing. It was very powerful. So she's going to be doing that tomorrow morning with Meg Benedicte, who's also part of Powerhouse. They are the Ascension gals. They've been studying it. They know all the tricks and the turns. So join us tomorrow morning for the Sacred Sunday show. All right. I am going to turn it over to Chief Phil to do a closing prayer, and then we will close out listening to our beloved Kristen Hoffman.
Well, Midaki Epi, it's again been a tremendous joy and happiness to be able to share fully our vision and where we are walking. And my father always said, he said, son, he said, a good horse thief never reveals any of his plans until the horses are safely home. And the horses are safely home. We're all together. And I'm not saying that a horse thief in a negative way. It was the highest thing we can do, is quietly go and we go back and forth and take each other's horses without harming anybody. It's kind of like our football game, so to speak. I want to say at the Convergence at 12:30, before it starts, we will be having with my Toja, dear Toja, Lila June, we'll be holding a special sacred prayers for those who want to join this covenant and who have taken the time to go through this and want to come and join us. And there will be a sacred ceremony, very much like we had in with our dear brother Andrew and the veterans. That will be happening at 12:30 before that convergence starts. I want to recognize the incredible relatives who came with me down to be there together in this sacred run and staking ceremony. Of course, brother Austin Nunez, who is just, along with Mona and others that you've known, it's just there's no words to express the beauty of this beloved brother. Fidel Marino, who gave his time, my beloved daughter Lisa, and my granddaughter Lana, Chief Grimes and his whole drum group that came and brought their teepee. They traveled a long ways to bring out the teepee and put it up and took care of us in a good way. Sandra Ramirez, who came and was so instrumental in recording this. Paul Bartram, PJ Bartram, my dear brother who opened so many doors for me. And Dr. Samuel Lee, brother Samuel Lee, who's now currently in Thailand, carrying our message there. And I want to also thank Scott Angie Ford, who Scott is the chairperson of the Forward's Global Impact Fund, who have been so supportive to what we're doing, and many others. So I just want to say that. And again, Scott, brother, thank you so much. Thank you so much. And everybody who's come, and love the music. That music gets me going. So I'm going to close with this prayer for our beloved human family. Oten Kashla Wakantaka, creator of the universe, most beloved one, all powerful one, most kind one, most compassionate one, ever forgiving one. O blessed beauty, O ancient days, we call upon your holy power with great thanksgiving this night, this time, for all the blessings that are flowing upon us, so we might arise as prophesied, one heart and one mind in many bodies, with unprecedented unified action to unify our human family, end war and begin peace on earth by 2030. And we give thanksgiving with all our heart and soul for all those relatives throughout history of our human family who have stood up and given their lives and given their service to uplift and carry on an ever-advancing civilization. And all those sacred teachers of all sacred traditions and all sacred faiths, who are those spiritual umbilical cords that bring to us that spiritual understanding, just as our mothers did through their umbilical cord into our womb world. And we give thanksgiving that we might become those spiritual umbilical cords and might truly become that hollow reed through which the pith of self have been blown, so we might truly be a minaret of those sacred melodies, those sacred teachings of our Creator to all humanity, not through words, but through our actions. Wakantaka, creator of this beautiful universe, all powerful one, most glorious one, we give thanksgiving for all the tribes of the nation of the East, from where comes the red sunrise. They might come together in unity and harmony as prophesied, sooner than later. We call upon all the tribes of the nation of the South, from where comes new life. Give thanksgiving for all their contributions to this beautiful world that's unfolding. And we call upon all the tribes and nations of the West, from where comes thunder, lightning, and rain. We ask that those spiritual powers of lightning, thunder, and rain might awaken our hearts and minds to our true reality, each of us, a sovereignty, ancient, imperishable, and everlasting. We humble ourselves between all the tribes and nations of the North, from where comes the white snow. That purifying white snow and north winds might purify our hearts and minds, so all that remains is our love, our inspiration, and our connection to our most great spirit, to the holy power that animates and sustains all things. We humble ourselves before all the masculine elements of our human being, of ourselves. We ask that those masculine dimensions of life, those masculine attributes, qualities, we ask forgiveness for the overabundance, the unbalance that's happened, that's brought us to this time of almost destruction. We know though, with complete faith, that wing of the eagle, womankind, the direct representation of the life-giving power of our Creator and our Mother Earth, is rising. And together, with the leadership of kindness, compassion, and gentleness, and tenderness, and forgiveness, we have complete faith that without question, we will come together in unprecedented unified action, and we will fulfill all the sacred prophecies, and we will together, the covenant with our Creator that's existed since the beginning of time, we will find peace, and we will fully understand we've entered the sacred day that shall not be followed by night. Oh my God, unite the hearts of thy servants and reveal unto them thy great purpose. May they follow thy commandments and abide in thy law. Help them, O God, in their endeavor, and grant them strength to serve thee. O God, lead them not to themselves, but guide their steps by the light of knowledge, and cheer their hearts by thy love. Verily, thou art their helper, Lord. Hallelujah be chante washtelo, shunkmano hemeado, chirupasapa hemeado, hallelujah be chante washte. In our way we close and begin our words as Dakota people, my name is Shunkmanu, horse thief, a leader of warriors who takes the enemy's best horses. My name is Shinupasapa, black pipe, a sacred black pipe born of thunder, lightning, and rain. And I stand responsible fully for all my words and my actions, and give thanksgiving to our beloved Creator that we all are here with our ancestors, close in our closest vein, at this time in history, that all the poets, all the visionaries, all the holy manifestations of God have prophesied. Halimi chante washtialo ho. Thank you, my beloved relatives.
Go to gallery view. Let's just give Phil a lot of love, a lot of beauty. We love you so much, Phil. It's such an honor to spend this time with you, and thank you for that powerful prayer. May it be so. May it be so. I think about the only possible thing that could follow a prayer like that would be Christian Hoffman. So
You're carried way off.
it's about the only possibility.
Way beyond me.
So we will close out with Kristen, whom we love very, very much. And she will be in Los Angeles, so come be with us in LA, not next weekend, but that last weekend in March.
Of divine love, I see you traveling on the wings of divine love. This symphony plays symphony plays from heart to heart, from your heart through mine. This endless love. Sacred heart of the Highest love, bathe us in your highest love. Oh, Spirit, we are remembering our highest love. Oh, bathe us in that wind of our highest love. It's singing now, it's singing now, traveling on the winds of eternal flames. We're traveling on the winds of eternal love, back to the love we are. We're reminded of 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 the love. We're reminded of the love. We're reminded of the love. We feel the truth of the love we are. We feel the truth, and it reminds us of our eyes of God. And we look through these eyes of God. We're reminded of the eyes of God we are, and we look through these eyes of God. I'm seeing you, and you're seeing me in these new beginnings of awakening. You're seeing me, and I'm seeing you in these new beginnings of the love we are. And I'm seeing you in the fullness of the love you are. And I'm seeing you in the fullness of the love you are. And I'm seeing you in the fullness of the love you are. And I'm loving you in the fullness of the love you are. And I'm receiving you in the fullness of the love we are. And I'm holding you in that embrace of the love we are. And I'm remembering the pureness of that love we are. It's the highest love. The highest
We're going to go to gallery view so we can just all see each other. as we feel the fullness of the love that we are. And each and every one of you are so beautiful. We might not all be able to sing like Kristen or pray like Phil, but each and every one of you is precious. And I'm honored to spend these evenings with you. Have a beautiful week, a beautiful night. I hope to see you all tomorrow morning for the Sacred Sunday show.
Love you, Scott.
Thank you, John, Summer, Mona. Thank you, everybody, for a beautiful night. Good night, dear friends.